Right now, while you're watching this, there's a spot on your abdomen, roughly 2 inches below your belly button, where the muscle wall is thinner than almost anywhere else on your body. Underneath that thin layer sits a web of nerve endings, so dense that scientists now call this region your body's second brain. And tonight, before you go to sleep, you're going to place something there that most people have never thought to combine. 2 natural compounds, one from a black seed, one from a golden root. And what may happen over the next several hours while you sleep is one of the reasons more people are paying attention to simple nighttime rituals like this. But before I show you exactly how to do this, you need to understand something about what's happening inside your body every single night. Something that, once you hear it, changes the way you think about sleep entirely. See, most people think of sleep as downtime. You close your eyes, your body rests, and you wake up. That's it. But that's not even close to what's actually going on. Sleep is when your body does its heaviest work. Your liver ramps up detoxification between roughly 1 and 3 in the morning. Growth hormone gets released in deep sleep to repair damaged tissue. Your lymphatic system, the network that flushes out inflammatory waste from your organs, it increases its activity significantly while you're unconscious. Your digestive tract resets. Your immune system recalibrates. This is not rest. This is a construction site. Your body is literally rebuilding itself every single night. Now here's the problem. And this is where it gets personal for anyone over 60. As we age, the switch that's supposed to flip your body from alert mode into repair mode starts getting sluggish. That switch has a name. It's called the parasympathetic nervous system. And the main cable that runs it, the one nerve that tells your heart to slow down, your gut to start digesting, your muscles to relax, your cortisol to drop, is the vagus nerve. Cranial nerve 10. It runs from your brainstem all the way down through your chest, past your heart, through your diaphragm, and into your abdominal cavity, where it branches out like tree roots into your stomach, your liver, your intestines, your kidneys, your spleen. And while the navel area has long been used in traditional wellness practices, modern science is still exploring how much of its effect comes from the skin, the massage, and the relaxation response itself. So when someone over 60 lies in bed at night, and their mind won't quiet down, when they wake up at 2 or 3 in the morning and can't fall back asleep, when they get up feeling like they didn't rest at all, joints stiff, belly bloated, energy flat, what's often happening is that the vagus nerve isn't doing its job. The parasympathetic switch isn't fully flipping. Cortisol, which is the stress hormone, stays elevated too long into the evening. And without that shift, the body's repair cycle either starts late, runs incomplete, or barely happens at all. Think about that for a second. Night after night, your body is supposed to be rebuilding. And night after night, for a lot of people, it barely gets the chance. That's not aging. That's a system that needs something specific to get unstuck. And what I'm about to share with you isn't a pill, isn't a supplement you swallow, and isn't something your doctor is likely to mention. It's 2 natural compounds that work through completely different mechanisms, and when you combine them and place them on one very specific spot on your body, they address the exact breakdown I just described. Quick note, this is for educational purposes, not medical advice. Always check with your doctor. Now, let me tell you about 2 compounds that, when combined, do something remarkable to this entire process. The first one comes from a tiny black seed that's been used for over 3,000 years, Nigella sativa. You probably know it as black seed oil. The active compound inside it is called thymoquinone. And thymoquinone has been studied extensively. We're not talking about 1 or 2 papers. We're talking about hundreds of published studies. And what they consistently show is that thymoquinone is a powerful anti-inflammatory. Let me put this simply. Inside every cell in your body, there's something like a fire alarm. When it detects trouble, infection, injury, stress, it triggers inflammation. That alarm is called NF-kappa B. And the thing is, when you're 25, that alarm works perfectly. It goes off when it should and shuts off when the threat is gone. But after 60, that alarm starts malfunctioning. It goes off too easily, stays on too long, and sometimes just rings all night for no reason. That's chronic low-grade inflammation. And it's behind almost every condition that people chalk up to just getting older. Joint stiffness, digestive problems, poor sleep, brain fog. Thymoquinone walks into the room and turns that false alarm down, not off, down to where it should be. It also inhibits the same COX-2 enzymes that drugs like ibuprofen target, except thymoquinone doesn't damage your stomach lining to do it. But here's where most people stop. They hear black seed oil is anti-inflammatory, and they think that's the full picture. It's not, because thymoquinone, as effective as it is, primarily hits one set of inflammatory pathways. There's a whole other cascade, driven by a molecule called TNF-alpha, that thymoquinone doesn't suppress as effectively on its own. And that's where the golden route comes in, curcumin, the active compound in turmeric. Now you've probably heard 100 times that turmeric is good for you, and it is. Curcumin targets TNF-alpha directly. It blocks it from activating NF-kappa B through a completely different door than thymoquinone uses. It also suppresses interleukin-1 beta, interleukin-6, and 5-lipoxygenase, all molecules that drive the kind of chronic inflammation that accumulates in your joints, your gut, your blood vessels, and your organs while you sleep. So when you combine thymoquinone and curcumin, you're not just adding one benefit on top of another. You're covering two separate inflammatory pathways simultaneously. Published research has confirmed that these two compounds together show enhanced anti-inflammatory efficacy compared to either one alone. One study found that their combination protected organs by activating a protective pathway called NRF2, while simultaneously shutting down the inflammatory NF-kappa B cascade from two directions. Two keys, two different locks, both turning at the same time. But there's a catch that most people don't realize about curcumin. And honestly, this is one of the biggest wastes I see. People buy turmeric capsules, they sprinkle turmeric on their food, they put it in their smoothies, and roughly 95% of it gets destroyed by their digestive system before it ever reaches the tissues where it's actually needed. Curcumin has notoriously poor oral bioavailability. Your liver breaks it down almost immediately. Scientists have been struggling with this problem for decades, but here's what changes everything. When curcumin is mixed into oil and used topically, it avoids the limits of digestion, though the extent of skin absorption can vary and is still being studied. Clinical studies on topical curcumin have shown significant anti-inflammatory effects. One trial showed that a curcumin preparation applied to the skin reduced inflammation markers dramatically compared to a placebo. Another study demonstrated measurable increases in collagen density after topical application. The skin absorbs it, the liver never gets a chance to destroy it. And what's the best carrier oil to dissolve curcumin into? An oil that itself contains anti-inflammatory compounds. An oil whose active ingredient has been confirmed as a strong candidate for transdermal delivery. Black seed oil. The thymoquinone in black seed oil doesn't just work alongside curcumin, it literally helps carry it deeper into the tissue. The oil acts as a natural penetration enhancer for the curcumin. So now you have two compounds, working through two different pathways, delivered through the skin instead of the gut, carried by the same oil that enhances absorption. That's the combination. That's what you're going to mix tonight. But we haven't talked about the where yet, and this is the part that connects everything, the navel region. In Ayurvedic medicine, this practice is called Nabi Chikitsa, and it's been used for over 3,000 years. The traditional texts describe the navel as being connected to over 72,000 energy channels throughout the body. Now, modern anatomy doesn't use that language, but what modern anatomy does confirm is genuinely fascinating. The periumbilical area, the skin around and inside your navel, has one of the thinnest muscle layers between the surface and the internal organs. The capillary density is high, and critically, the vagus nerve, that master switch I talked about earlier, its abdominal branches run directly behind this area. The navel sits right over the enteric nervous system, your gut's own independent neural network, 500 million nerve cells, more than your spinal cord contains. So when you apply an oil blend to this area and gently massage it in slow circular motions, you're doing two things at the same time. First, you're allowing anti-inflammatory compounds to absorb through thin, capillary-rich skin into the tissues directly over your digestive and lymphatic organs. And second, and this is the part people miss entirely, the gentle massage itself stimulates the vagus nerve. It activates the parasympathetic response. Your heart rate begins to slow, your breathing deepens, cortisol starts dropping, the body begins shifting from alert mode into repair mode. You're not just applying oil, you're creating a calming bedtime ritual that may help your body ease into a more relaxed state. And most people who try abdominal oil application make one critical mistake. They rush it. They dab the oil on, rub it in for 5 seconds, and lie down. That's barely enough to get the oil onto the skin, let alone stimulate the nerve network underneath. 45 to 60 seconds of gentle, intentional circular massage is what activates the vagus nerve response. 5 seconds does almost nothing. This is one of those cases where how you do it matters as much as what you use. And here's something I want you to think about. A double-blind, placebo-controlled clinical trial, which is the gold standard of medical research, tested black seed oil on people with sleep difficulties. The results were remarkable. Within 7 days, 70% of the people taking it reported that their sleep had improved. By day 14, that number rose to 79%. And when the researchers measured their biomarkers, they found that cortisol levels had decreased significantly. Melatonin levels, the hormone that governs your sleep-wake cycle, had increased. Non-REM deep sleep, the stage where your body does its deepest repair, increased by over 80%, and the mechanism they identified was modulation of the stress-sleep axis through reduction of orexin, a brain chemical that keeps you awake. Now, that study used oral supplementation, but consider this. When you apply the same compound topically to the navel area, you're adding the vagus nerve stimulation component that oral supplementation doesn't provide. You're getting the anti-inflammatory delivery through the skin, and you're performing a calming physical ritual right before bed that itself signals to your nervous system that it's time to shift gears. Let me tell you exactly how to prepare this. It takes less than 2 minutes, and I'll be honest, when I first came across this combination, I thought the preparation would be complicated. Some elaborate ritual. It's not. It's almost embarrassingly simple. Start with about 1 teaspoon of cold-pressed organic black seed oil. You want cold-pressed specifically because heat processing degrades thymoquinone. Real quick, if you don't already have a high-quality black seed oil at home, I've left a link to a reliable cold-pressed brand in the pinned comment below. Pour it into a small dish. A bottle cap works. A shot glass, even a spoon. Now add approximately a 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric powder, not a heaping 1/4 teaspoon, just a level 1. Stir it gently into the oil and let it sit for about 60 seconds. The curcumin is lipophilic. It dissolves in fat. The oil is the perfect carrier. If you can find a turmeric extract or curcumin oil, that works beautifully too. But plain turmeric powder mixed into the oil works well for most people. You'll notice the oil turns a deep amber gold. That's the curcumin dissolving. That color means it's ready. Now, lie on your back, get comfortable. This is your nighttime ritual. Take the mixture and apply it into and around your navel. Then, using your fingertips, begin massaging in slow clockwise circles. Gentle pressure. You're not trying to dig in. You're trying to stimulate, not force. Expand the circles gradually across your lower abdomen. Do this for about 45 to 60 seconds. As you do this, breathe slowly, in through the nose, out through the mouth. This isn't just relaxation advice. Slow diaphragmatic breathing directly amplifies vagus nerve activation. You're multiplying the effect of the massage with each breath. After you finish, take a cotton cloth, an old t-shirt works perfectly, and place it over the area before lying down. Turmeric will stain fabric, so don't use anything you care about. Some people like to place a warm cloth or a gentle heating pad over the area for about 10 minutes. Warmth increases blood flow to the skin surface and can enhance absorption, but it's optional. The oil and the massage are doing the primary work. Now here's something important. The first night you do this, you might notice something subtle, a warmth that spreads outward from the navel, a gentle gurgling in the digestive tract, a sense of relaxation that feels different from normal tiredness. That's the vagus nerve responding. That's the parasympathetic system engaging. Some people describe it as a heaviness in the limbs, not unpleasant, just a feeling of the body letting go. By the 3rd or 4th night, the cumulative effect starts building. The anti-inflammatory compounds have been absorbing into the abdominal tissues repeatedly. The vagus nerve has been stimulated consistently. The cortisol pattern starts shifting earlier in the evening. People commonly report that they're falling asleep faster, that the 2 a.m. wake-ups become less frequent, that morning bloating reduces, that there's less stiffness when they get out of bed. And here's a detail that I think is genuinely underappreciated. The lymphatic system in your abdomen doesn't have its own pump. Unlike your circulatory system, which has the heart pushing blood around, the lymphatic system depends entirely on movement, breathing, and physical stimulation to move lymph fluid through the tissues. When you massage the abdominal area before bed, you're essentially priming the lymphatic system right before the body enters its nighttime detoxification cycle. You're giving it a head start, helping it clear inflammatory waste more efficiently while you sleep. I want to mention a few things about safety because this matters. Before you apply the mixture for the first time, test a small amount on the inside of your forearm and wait an hour. Some people are sensitive to black seed oil on the skin, and it's better to find that out on your arm than on your abdomen. If you're taking blood-thinning medications, talk to your doctor before adding topical curcumin to your routine. Curcumin has mild anticoagulant properties. If you're pregnant, skip this entirely unless your healthcare provider says otherwise. And if you experience any redness, itching, or discomfort at the application site, discontinue and consult with your doctor. These compounds are generally considered safe. Black seed has FDA GRAS status, meaning it's generally recognized as safe, but everyone's body is different. Give yourself a full 2 weeks of doing this every night before you assess results. Some people feel changes within days, others take a bit longer. The clinical data showed meaningful shifts at 7 days, but the full benefits accumulated over weeks and months. Consistency matters more than quantity. A small amount every night beats a large amount once a week. And let me share something that really stuck with me. I came across a woman in her late 60s who had been dealing with persistent bloating and broken sleep for years. She'd tried everything: probiotics, sleep supplements, cutting out dairy, cutting out gluten. Nothing moved the needle enough. She started this navel application every night, black seed oil with a pinch of turmeric, not expecting much. She said by day 5 she woke up one morning and her stomach was flat for the first time in months. Not because she lost weight, because the overnight inflammation in her abdominal tissues had been quietly draining away, night after night. She described it as her body finally finishing a job it had been trying to do for years but couldn't complete. That's one person's experience. It's not a clinical trial, but it illustrates something important. Sometimes the body isn't lacking effort, it's lacking access. The right compounds in the right place at the right time. Now there's something else that I find absolutely fascinating that most people don't think about. Your navel isn't the only spot on your body with this kind of thin-skinned, nerve-dense architecture. The soles of your feet have a remarkably similar profile. Thin skin over dense nerve endings connected to reflex pathways throughout the body. In fact, there's a specific point on the arch of each foot that reflexology maps directly to the digestive organs and the solar plexus. And some practitioners actually combine navel application with a small amount of the same oil blend rubbed into the soles of the feet before bed, essentially activating the parasympathetic response from 2 access points simultaneously. I've heard from people who added the foot application and said the depth of their sleep changed noticeably. The legs felt warmer through the night. The restless sensation that sometimes keeps you shifting and adjusting just quieted. And for anyone who deals with cold feet at night, which is extremely common after 60, because peripheral circulation naturally decreases with age, there's a reason that warm oil on the soles creates such an immediate effect. The blood vessels in your feet are the farthest from your heart. They're the first to constrict when your body is stressed, and they're the first to open up when the parasympathetic system takes over. So in a sense, your feet are a barometer of whether the vagus nerve is doing its job. Cold feet at night, your body is still in alert mode. Warm feet, the repair switch has flipped. There's actually a whole protocol around which specific oils create the strongest circulation response when applied to the feet, and it's different from what works on the abdomen. But that's a conversation for another time. The science behind what I've shared today is still emerging in some areas, and I always want to be honest about what's firmly established and what's being explored. What we know for certain is that thymoquinone and curcumin are individually well-documented anti-inflammatory compounds. We know they work through complementary mechanisms. We know the navel region is anatomically unique in its proximity to the vagus nerve and the enteric nervous system. We know that gentle abdominal massage activates parasympathetic responses. And we know from rigorous clinical trials that black seed oil modulates the stress-sleep axis through measurable changes in cortisol and melatonin. What we're still learning is exactly how much of the topical compound reaches deeper tissues, and whether the traditional Ayurvedic claims about the navel's role as a distribution hub will hold up under modern scientific scrutiny. I suspect some of it will, and some of it won't. But what I can tell you is that the practice itself, the combination of these 2 compounds applied to this specific region, with gentle massage before sleep, addresses multiple pathways that contribute to poor sleep and chronic inflammation, and those pathways are well understood. Sometimes the most powerful things we can do for our health aren't complicated. They don't come in prescription bottles. They don't require appointments or equipment. They come from understanding how our bodies actually work, and then giving them exactly what they need, in the right place, at the right time. Your body wants to repair itself every night. It's designed to. It just needs the inflammation to come down, the nervous system to shift gears, and the right raw materials to be present in the tissues where the work happens. That's what this combination does. And it costs almost nothing. A bottle of quality black seed oil lasts weeks. A bag of turmeric powder lasts months. 2 minutes before bed, that's all it takes. If you've been using black seed oil on its own, or if you've been taking turmeric capsules and wondering why you haven't felt much difference, now you understand why. The combination matters. The delivery method matters. The application site matters, and the timing, right before sleep when your body is about to enter its deepest repair cycle, that might matter most of all. I'd genuinely love to know what you experience after the first week. What changed, what surprised you, what your body told you that it hasn't been telling you before. Because the responses from people who try this for the first time are always more interesting than anything I could predict.